Q1057 and 1035, the Capital Region's classic rock station, welcomes Brit Floyd. They're going to be at the Broadview stage at Saratoga Performing Arts Center Tuesday, August 22nd. On the phone with me right now, Damian Darlington of Brit Floyd. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
This year is the 50th anniversary of Dark Side of the Moon, so a special occasion. Can you tell me what your very first memory is of Dark Side of the Moon?
I first discovered Pink Floyd when I was about 13 years old. I actually, the Wall album was my introduction to Pink Floyd, and I was totally blown away by it and wanted to search out the other Pink Floyd albums once I'd heard this. And I was just starting to play in bands, and there was this drummer who was in the band who kindly sold me a copy of a well-worn, well-played copy of Dark Side of the Moon, and he said, for the princely sum of 50 pence. He sold it to me for. So that was my introduction to Dark Side of the Moon. Still have the same copy all these years later.
The first one I bought way back when, I still have a copy of that as well. You could buy another one, but nothing sounds quite as good as that very first one you had, right?
Of course, yeah. There's all the sort of emotional experience of hearing something like that for the first time attached to it as well.
Tell me a little bit about the preparation that goes into a Brit Floyd tour. So you set out to do the 50th anniversary of Dark Side of the Moon, and what does it take for your band to rehearse, to get the stage set right, to get everything involved? What is that preparation like? Well,
there's a question of the evolution of the band. The band has been around for 12 years now, but prior to that, I was in another Pink Floyd show for 17 years. So I've had a lot of experience learning how to put a Pink Floyd show on over the years, and a lot of sort of the infrastructure of the band and how to put the show in is already in place. But obviously we do a different set list every year. This year is themed around the 50th anniversary of Dark Side of the Moon, and we have to prepare, new animation, new videos to accompany the music for that. We have to redo lighting programming. We've added a lot of lasers this year, a lot more lasers than we've had in the past. So all of that, coupled with our jobs as musicians to rehearse the music and get that up to scratch, it takes a lot of preparation and takes quite a few months before we actually go out on the road.
You're not only in the band, you're the musical director, so I would imagine you're the boss. You're the guy that decides who's in, and how do you go about that audition process and finding the right pieces for Brit Floyd?
We've held formal auditions where a bunch of musicians have turned up in the past, but more recently, YouTube is a great source of finding people out there that they'll put videos of themselves up playing some Pink Floyd guitar solos, or you find backing vocalists who've sung in perhaps another Pink Floyd show, and you can, make a judgment about whether they'd be good for Brit Floyd and reach out to them. And so quite a few members of Brit Floyd that are touring with us currently have come via that route. But yeah, it's my job as musical director to go out and find them. It's also my job to sort of decide what set list we do and who plays what parts and all the rest of it. But fortunately, I get to work with some wonderful musicians, and that make that job very, very easy and a pleasure to do.
Which Pink Floyd songs would you say you find the most challenging to recreate?
It's probably the older ones. I mean, they're kind of all older now, but like the late 60s ones, early 70s ones, they're more challenging to recreate, to get them sounding like they were, get that sort of vintage sound to it, something from like the Syd Barrett era of the band, or perhaps an epic track like Echoes. That can be a challenge to sort of get the right vibe to recreate that. So yeah, I would say an epic like Echoes is a challenge, certainly.
To someone who's not seen Brit Floyd before, when they come to Saratoga Performing Arts Center Tuesday the 22nd to see the show, give us just a snapshot of what to expect visually and with the set list. We know, obviously, we're going to get Dark Side of the Moon. Will you be doing other Pink Floyd hits in the set as well?
Of course, yeah. We try to cover as many Pink Floyd albums as we can within the confines of the set list, the length of time we have to play. But we play for like about 2 hours, 40 minutes. So, there's tracks from, as well as the Dark Side of the Moon, there's tracks from Wish You Were Here, Animals, The Wall, Division Bell, The Moment You Lapse a Reason, The Final Cut, Medal, and even some very old Sid Barrett tunes in there as well. So we give people a spread of all of Pink Floyd's catalogue, some representation from all eras of Pink Floyd. Plus, we have a large circular screen, which is very synonymous with Pink Floyd. We have all our own videos that have specially been created for the show, accompanying the music. We have a spectacular light show, and we have a spectacular laser show, and the mirror ball. All these sort of moments that people expect to see from when they go and see a Pink Floyd concert. We've got it all going on.
We're speaking with Damien Darlington of Brit Floyd as we get ready for the Saratoga Performing Arts Center show Tuesday the 22nd. Now, Damien, one thing we like to do, if you're willing to go along, is we ask like these rapid fire questions and you give the first thought that comes to mind. Are you game to do something like that?
Yeah. I don't know how this is going to work out, but let's see what.
Well, that's the beauty of it, right? Okay. Yeah. I'm not good unless I write them down, so I wrote a few of these down. So, what was your first concert?
Aldi.
And still an influence, right? I would imagine to this day.
Oh, yes. Yeah, it's something very different from Pink Floyd, but is one of my favourite guitarists. I have quite an eclectic and varied taste in music, so it's not just about Pink Floyd, it's about lots of other genres of music as well.
See, I've already messed up the rapid fire stuff because I got interested in that, and you derailed me. So, all right, what's your favorite movie?
I'm going to say a very recent one, Oppenheimer. I went to see that recently, and I thought it was an amazing film. So, yeah.
Where did you go for your last vacation?
Italy.
What was your first job?
I worked in a bakery making donuts. I was about 16 years old.
When's the last time you were home?
The middle of July.
What was your very first car?
A Yugo. Of a Yugo.
What's your favorite meal?
Chicken fried rice.
What's the last song you listened to?
I can't remember the name of it, but it was by the band The Doors. Not The Doors with Jim Morrison, Doors, D-A-W-E-S, the band for the US band The Doors. I was listening to one of their albums last night. And
the last question, Dark Side of the Moon or The Wall? Which do you choose? Only one.
It has to be The Wall. That was, as I've mentioned earlier, that was my introduction to Pink Floyd, so it's always sort of had a special place for me at that album.
Fantastic. Damien, it was great talking with you, and I can't wait to see Brit Floyd. It's Tuesday the 22nd, Saratoga Performing Arts Center. Thank you for your time. Looking forward to the show.
Thank you. Good to speak to you. Thank you.